Good evening and welcome to yet another awesome session of Mindful Living. I truly appreciate your taking out time and joining us this weekend. Like all sessions of Mindful Living, our session today is guaranteed to improve your quality of life. Our session today is about magical success rituals. These are practices and habits which I inculcated over the last couple of years and have been practicing very successfully to improve the quality of my life. Is it okay if we start by asking you a few questions? Please type Y in the chat if it is okay for me to ask a few questions. Please type Y if it is okay for me to ask. Okay, Ronak, thank you. Thank you, Richard. Okay, friends, I'll request you to participate actively. Thank you, Maniselvi. Thank you, Renu. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, everybody who's responding. And let me begin by asking you a few questions. And please respond by typing Y if the answer to any or more of this is yes for you. Do you feel you work very hard, but still don't get the results you want in your career? Please type Y if this applies to you. Do you struggle to make time for yourself? Do you feel overwhelmed with the amount of work that you need to do at workplace or at home? Please keep typing Y for each question that applies to you. Do you or someone you know works extremely hard, but the finances never improve? The situation remains the same. All right. Thank you. Thank you for responding. Do you struggle in navigating relationships with family, colleagues, bosses, customers, clients? Keep typing Y. Do you or someone you know wants to beat stress, anxiety, depression, suffering from guilt, shame, fear, but do not know what to do? All right, keep the Ys coming in. Do you want to break free from living a life where the same patterns keep repeating? All right, all right, all right. Keep typing Y. Do you find it difficult to regulate your emotions? Feel angry, or is it addictions or anything else? Do you desire to improve the destiny of your family? Do you want to improve your own life and the lives of your family members? Please keep typing Y. I truly appreciate your enthusiastic responses, friends. And do you want to make your life wonderful and abundant? On this one, at least we should get another 15 buys. All right. Okay. And the next one is, do you want a breakthrough in your life? If you want a breakthrough, type BT in the chat box. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Ronak. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Maniselvi. Friends, type BT if you want a breakthrough in your life. Thank you, Rudrajit. Thank you, Lalita. Thank you, Sri. Who else wants a breakthrough? Please keep typing BT in the chat. Friends, if you're looking for a breakthrough in your life, then you are at the right place at the right time, because I'm going to share with you 5 practices which helped me create a breakthrough in my life. And these 5 practices are mindfulness, attitude of gratitude, Ho'oponopono, incantations, and champions mindset. Have you heard of these practices earlier, or have you practiced them? If you're familiar with any one or many of them, please type yes. Okay, yes, thank you, Renuka. All right, which one? Some, okay. You can also mention which one you are familiar with and which one is new. All right, Rudajit, thank you. Thank you, Sri. Thank you, Sue. So friends, what you may be familiar with some of these and some may be new to you. But what we are going to share with you today is how the combination of these five truly creates a magic in the life. And one thing which probably no one would have told you earlier is that these practices are infallible. They don't fail. In Hindi, we say it is achuk. Whenever you practice this, for sure, you will find results happening. And that is why they are so powerful practices. And once I started practicing it, I realized that it helped me break through from a low energy level to a very high energy level. And this is a great work done by Dr. David Hawkins, which he mentions in his book, Power versus Force. And in this book, he has calibrated energy levels associated with different emotions that we have. And anything below 200 keeps us trapped into the low energy state. And that is exactly where I was for the first 25, in the 25 years of my working career. And, I had grief of having lost my father at an early age, anger at not getting what I deserve, fear of losing my job. What would happen if I lose my job, and so on and so forth. And the worst part of this is I didn't realize it. And, once you are operating in that low energy level, and anything below 200 is low energy level. And if you are in that low energy level, you just get trapped there. So it takes a lot to break through and come up to neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, and so on and so forth. But once you do, then the life becomes very beautiful. And that is what I'm going to talk about today. And these practices, have helped me break through. That's the breakthrough these practices resulted. And one more thing which I realized was that how these practices helped was change my state of being. And this was a concept I learned from one of my teachers, Rohan Singhal. And before that, what I realized was, I used to think that, if if the results are not coming, I should just keep working more and more. So there was a point of time in my life where I was working more and more and more, but the results just remained the same in terms of output, in terms of finances, in terms of health, everything else. But I realized that, I had this realization during a session in which Rohan talked about state of being. And that's when I realized that it is not only the action, but the state of being in which you are taking the action, which creates a difference in the result. And let us understand this with the metaphor of a dry soil and soil which is of very high quality, which has got moisture, has got fertilizers and everything else. So where I was earlier, I would, just keep sowing more and more seeds, which is amount to, which is like, doing more and more action. But obviously they will not result because the land itself or the soil itself is dry and it's not nourished. But when I started practicing these practices, my the inner soil got nourished. And with that, the results started happening. And at this stage, I would just like to pause and hear from you. If this is making sense to you, please type MS if it is making sense to you. The state of being, doing more and more actions. Yeah, okay, Richard, thank you. Versus, okay, thank you, Samir, thank you, Maniselvi, thank you, Lalita. So these thank you, Madhu, thank you, everybody. So this these practices changed my state of being. And then in this state of being where I'm grateful, mindful, doing incantations, champion mindset, then everything else, the results are very good. So that is the difference I found. And one thing, there are two reasons why I love these practices very, very much is because of the concept of KISS. It's not the KISS that we think, but it is keep it straight and simple, so these are very simple practices. Sometimes when there is something which is simple, we tend to, reject it, saying that, if it is simple and it is only if it is complex, it will work. And I want to burst that myth for you that something which is simple is not effective. So these practices are very, very simple and they are highly effective. And the other thing is being a corporate professional and being a finance professional, I'm very focused on the return on investment and return on time I invest. So these practices, which will take very little time, and I'll talk more about it as they go, but whatever time you invest, the return on that is, completely makes it worthwhile. So this is the reason why I love these practices. If you are with me, please type WM with me. Why these practices are so powerful. Okay, Renuka, thank you, Samir, thank you, Richard, thank you, friends, for being attentive and so participative. And then I'll share with you how these practices help me change my own life. And everything I'm sharing in the session today is backed by research and is backed by my own personal experiences. And if you see this in 2019, the year when I had started, within a year of what I had started, I ran out of all my savings and my bank balance was zero and my checks were bouncing. And with these practices, my life soon changed around. And in 2023, we went on a European holiday with my family. And in 2024, I paid the highest ever income tax in my life. So this is how my life has changed by practicing this. If this is awesome, please show some love, thumbs up. If this makes sense to you, type makes sense or whatever, awesome, amazing, love, whatever. Okay, thank you, friends. So this is how it works. There is enough evidence that it works from my own experience and from the experience of from the research that has been done. Now, is there someone who is attending a mindful living session for the first time? If you're attending a session for the first time, please type FT in the chat box for the first time. Thank you, Renuka. Anybody else attending a session for the first time? Okay, thank you, Lalita. Thank you. So thank you, Raj. For the benefit of those friends who are joining our session for the first time, I'll take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. By education, I'm an MBA, cost accountant, fellow of Life Management Institute of USA, certified mindfulness teacher, and a certified coach. I started Mindful Living Community during 2020 when the COVID struck, and at a request of few of my friends, some of whom are in the session today, I conducted a session on mindfulness to deal with the stress which the first lockdown was causing. One thing led to the other, and that initial group of friends, which was about 10 in number, has today grown to be a vibrant community of over 1,000 people. We don't advertise about the work we do, so the only way people can join our community is when somebody invites you to join. And today, with an open heart and open arms, I invite you to join this community. We'll be sharing the link in the chat, so please click on the link and join our Mindful Living WhatsApp community. This is a no-nonsense community where there are no good morning, good night, good evening, or religious political posts. Only people who are sharing with each other about living consciously. So that's the group, and that's what I invite you to join. I request you to keep your cameras on and participate actively as you are. And then, we are set to dive into the first practice, which of the five which are in the MAGHIC, which is first one is mindfulness. But in the next 30 to 45 minutes, it is not possible for me to cover in detail everything. What we will do is a brief preview of each of these practices. But for those who want to dive deep into these, I will be, offering a workshop where we'll be diving into each of these practices. So in case you are interested in diving deep into these practices, please type DD in the chat box. Please type DD in the chat box if you are interested in diving deep into these practices. Thank you, Renuka. Thank you, Samir. And learning more about how to practice, how these work, etc. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Manish Alvi. Thank you to each one of you thank you, Madhu, who's wanting to dive deep into these practices. So now the first one is mindfulness. The mindfulness practice is an ancient one which was taught by Gautam Buddha about 2,500 years ago. In the last 50 to 70 years, this has been actively researched. And one of the people who has played a pioneering role in the research on mindfulness is Dr. John Kabat-Zinn. He had a meeting with Dalai Lama in 1970s, and Dalai Lama requested him and a couple of other people who were there with him to strip meditation of all the religious connotations and come up with the practice of mindfulness. So in about 70s, Dr. John Kabat-Zinn came up with mindfulness and he started teaching it. And the program that he has got is considered to be the gold standard in teaching mindfulness across the world. And this is the definition which he has given. Mindfulness is keeping one's complete attention to the experience on a moment-to-moment basis in an open and non-judgmental way. Friend, if this sounds like a lot of English, don't worry. I'll break this down into components of what this means, and we will also do a practice where you will understand this. And so we'll try and do as many practice sessions today as possible for you to understand what these practices is about. So there are 5 core components of the mindfulness, and the first one is attention. This is the foundational component of mindfulness. And in his lovely book, Deep Work, Kyle Newport talks about the quality of work being a function of 2 factors. One is the number of hours we spend, and second is the intensity of focus that we work with. And when we develop the muscle of attention, our ability to achieve more in lesser time is there. And a lot of people today are overwhelmed with having to do a lot, or there is so much information, so many emails, so many WhatsApp messages, so many, we are just overflowing with information. So how do we manage to focus and do quality work? This is the ability, the foundational ability of mindfulness, which we will practice in a couple of minutes from now. And when you do that on a sustained basis, you will find you're able to deal with your emotions and so many other things better. The second one is open awareness, and this is about awareness of our thoughts and emotions. And that is the starting point. Once we start becoming aware of our own thoughts and emotions, then we start becoming aware of the thoughts and emotions of other people, and we are able to manage. Someone has said that awareness is the first step towards progress, and this awareness then sets us up for better relationships, joyful relationships. It also helps us regulate our emotions like anger. It helps us deal with addiction issues, etc., etc. So this is the next part of mindfulness. And the third one is acceptance, which is very powerful and also very misunderstood. People think acceptance is becoming complacent, but acceptance is not complacent. It is accepting things as they are, accepting people as they are, accepting our thoughts as they are. And when we start accepting our thoughts, people, things as they are, our ability to influence goes up rather than goes down. And there are things we should accept in our lives, and there are things which we should not accept in our lives. So that is what we are going to dive deep into if you choose to join the workshop. And then there is ego identification. And then the last one, which is the most powerful one, is the choice. Whether you if you choose, like one of the choice that you have exercised is to join the session today. And you may choose to pay full attention to what we are discussing here. You may choose to put your phone on your airplane mode so that you get the maximum out of this next 30 to 45 minutes that we're going to spending together. So our life is a outcome of the choices we make, and we are making choices every single minute. And if we are making these consciously, we are able to direct our destiny consciously. But if we are making our choices unconsciously, then our life also plays out for us unconsciously. So I'll just pause to hear from you if this is making sense. If it is making sense, please type MS in the chat. All right, all right. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Simran. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Rudraji. Thank you, Murthy. Thank you, friends. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for. Now let us understand, and this is something which we are going to be doing in each session. Why should you practice mindfulness? And mindfulness is not something which people practice, retreat into caves and practice today. It has become an integral part of the Fortune 500 companies' learning and development organization development programs. And this one, and there are many CEOs, many billionaires who practice this. Bill Gates practices mindfulness. Oprah Winfrey does it. Ray Dalio does it. And there are many, many people who practice. This is Mark Bertolini is my favorite one because he used to work in an insurance company. And see what is the impact it has had on his company. He practiced it himself. Then, whenever you learn mindfulness, it's very and you benefit from it, it's very difficult not to propagate it. And that is exactly what he did. And he started, promoting mindfulness sessions in his organization, Etna. And over a period of a couple of years, over 25%, 13,000 of the 50,000 Etna employees went through some yoga or mindfulness session, and see the impact it has had on the profitability. The earning per share went up by 124%. And mind you, friends, this is not a startup. This is a Fortune 50 company. At that size of operations, to increase earnings per share by 124% is a very significant number. And share price went up by 500%, 5 times increase, whereas the S&P index had only increased. So this is the power. This is like in the front. I can't give you more numbers than this to back up the impact of mindfulness at workplace. And now, on that note, I'll invite you to join the mindfulness practice, a brief practice which will take about 5 to 7 minutes. Please keep your phones on an airplane mode and enjoy this exercise as I guide you through it. If you are sitting, please have your back and neck straight in a straight line, straight but not stiff. Close your eyes gently. And in case you're not comfortable closing them completely, you may look down with a half open gaze. Have a gentle smile on your face, palms on your lap, facing upwards, chin parallel to the ground, and start by observing your breath. Observe every breath that comes in and every breath that moves out. Incoming breath, outgoing breath, incoming breath, outgoing breath. Focus your attention, entire attention at the area at the entrance of your nostrils. Your breath may be shallow or deep. Just observe as it is. You may be breathing from the left nostril or right nostril or both the nostrils. Just observe your breath as it is. We are not trying to regulate our breath. We are only observing our breath as it comes in and as it moves out. It is possible that you find your mind, your thoughts wander away. And every time you find that your thoughts have wandered, gently, with compassion, bring them back to focus on your breath again. Continue to breathe. Enjoy every single breath that we take. We breathe 25 to 30,000 times in a day. How many times do we breathe consciously? This is our opportunity to enjoy the juicy, delicious breath. Enjoy every breath as it comes in and fills your lungs and then moves out. Continue to breathe. Focusing on breath is a great way to root our attention to the present. We can't go back to a breath that we have taken in the past, nor can we go to a breath that we are going to take in future. Present is all that we have, and that is why it is also called a gift. Continue to breathe. In this moment lie all the possibilities. This is the only moment that we have. Continue to pay attention to every breath that comes in and every breath that moves out. In a couple of seconds from now, we'll be coming to the end of this practice. Continue to breathe. As we come to the end of this practice, consider setting an intention that this practice of being mindful will help you and everyone you come in contact with today. Thank you for practicing mindfulness with me. You may choose to keep your eyes closed for a couple of seconds more and stay with the feeling. And once you're comfortable, gently open your eyes and share in the chat how was your experience of this mindfulness practice. Thank you, Renika. Thank you, Vilita. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Maniselvi. Thank you, Pallavi. Would you like to hear more about this Murthy? So, friends, thank you. Please keep sharing how you felt. And as I mentioned earlier, there are many, many advantages of practicing mindfulness at the productivity front, which we saw, with the experience of Mark Bertolini. And also, there is a lot of research which shows that mindfulness practice helps in reducing stress levels and improving focus by 27%. So these are benefits which you have just experienced. And when we dive deep, you will get to learn more about this. And now we move on to the next practice, which is attitude of gratitude. And this is a phenomenal practice. Many people use it, but they don't talk about it. So some of these practices are used by the most highly successful people in the world, but they normally don't come and talk about it. This is one, this is what was published in CNBC, how Ariana Huffington, Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins practice gratitude as a strategy for success. Some of you might already be aware about Oprah Winfrey and her story, but for those who haven't followed Oprah Winfrey, she was born to a unwed mother on a farm in rural America, and she was abused as a child. And from those levels, she has grown to be worth about $3 billion today, which is more than 25,000 crores. So and she practices gratitude. That's an integral part of her practice. And once somebody, told Oprah, it's very easy for you to be grateful because you've got everything. And the answer that Oprah gave was very astounding. She said, "It's not because I have everything I'm grateful. It is because I'm grateful I have got everything." And that is a very, very profound statement. And when we focus our attention on what we have, rather than focus on lack of what we don't have, things start transforming for us. And when I often talk about gratitude to people, one of the things I hear from people is, "I already am grateful," which including me, I also used to think I'm very grateful. But I learned about this gratitude gap. And what the gratitude gap, there's a research which is done in which it was found that while more than 90% of the people feel they are grateful, but only about 50% of the people express gratitude. So there is this gratitude gap. And then they went on to find out, why don't we express this gratitude? And some of the reasons why we are not as expressive about gratitude is because we tend to take things for granted. Like, the air we breathe, we just tend to take it for granted, But imagine during the COVID days, people could not get oxygen, and they would be willing to pay any amount of money to get an oxygen cylinder. But when the air is available, then, we take it for granted. Our hands, our limbs, we take it for granted. But look at Nick Vujicic. He has no hands, no limbs, and he's one of the most motivational speakers in the world today. Uh, ask him, how he feels about not having a leg or about limbs. He may have a different answer because he has turned his limitation into an advantage. But so many of us who have got perfectly healthy limbs, we don't really appreciate it. One of my friends has got muscular dystrophy, which makes it very difficult for him to even get up from the bed and walk to the door of the room. So those who have challenges realize what movement means. But for us, we just take it for granted. Some of the other reasons we don't express gratitude is because it will help make us look soft, or people will get complacent, or they will underperform and things like that. So we have many different reasons why we don't practice gratitude. But there is a lot of research which has been happening. There is a lot of science behind gratitude, all of which we don't have time to go into today. But there is one thing I would like to invite each one of you to do is, and keep your cameras on, because it's very beautiful when I can see you and we can do this together. Thanks to Richard, Murthy, and few others who have cameras on. I'll request everybody to keep their camera on. This is a practice I learned from my teacher, Nitya Shanti, which is called the Lotus of Gratitude. So make your hands like this. And, this is like a lotus bud. And every time we think of something which is we are grateful for, open one finger, and eventually we will have all the 10 fingers, and this will become a nice lotus. And this can be as simple as having air to breathe. Imagine if we don't have air to breathe, or having water to drink. Imagine if we don't have water to drink, or food to eat. There are many millions of people who go hungry every day. So imagine, so these are simple things, having your family around, having your family safe, whatever, simple things. It could be something more profound, but something very, very simple. So I invite you to join me in this practice of Lotus of Gratitude. Think of each thing silently in your mind and open one finger as I am doing now. You don't have to rush, be gentle, feel the gratitude in your heart. And then bring your hand to your heart and offer gratitude to Mother Earth, which provides us with everything. that we need to sustain our life on this beautiful planet. The air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. Thank you, Mother Earth. So this simple practice of gratitude, lotus of gratitude, takes less than a minute. And you can do this before going to bed. You can do this first thing after you get up in the morning, or any number of times during the day. And this is very, very powerful, especially if done while going to sleep or when immediately after getting up. And this is a practice which is very simple, but really helps in transforming our mindset and helps us in flourishing. The next one that we come to is practice of Ho'oponopono, which was popularized by Dr. Joe Vitale. The gentleman on the right is Dr. Hewlin. And this is a very interesting story. Dr. Hewlin was was appointed by the mental health hospital in Hawaii. And there, just by chanting the Ho'oponopono prayer, he cured everybody in that mental health hospital. And you need to read this fascinating story. That's the reason I shared this book picture here with you. And they eventually had to close down the psychiatric ward in that hospital. And this was a ward of criminally insane mental patients. So those were the kind of patients who got cured by the simple practice of Ho'oponopono. Simple but very, very powerful. And Dr. Joe Vitale found out about Dr. Hewlin, and then he made this very popular. What this practice means basically is to rectify an error. And what it says is that we are 100% responsible for all our experiences. And that's what Dr. Hewlin said, that if these people, these criminally insane mental health people have come into my life, there is something in I would have done to attract them to me. So it is taking 100% responsibility for ourselves, looking at ourselves as the source for everything that happens in our life, and saying thank you for what it comes and saying sorry. And this is very, very powerful. And, I earlier talked about the gratitude practice. The way I look at it, I often talk about it in my sessions, that gratitude and forgiveness are the two wings on which I fly high. So saying thank you and saying sorry is very, very powerful. It's a very simple prayer. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you can do this in order, any order. You can say, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, or I'm sorry. And you can do this for your laptop. You can do this for your mobile. You can do this for your shares. You can do this for your TV, for your husband, wife, students, anyone. Anything works. And I've had some amazing experiences with practicing Ho'oponopono. A couple of times I got stuck in a very bad situation, and I just said the Ho'oponopono prayer, and I got immediate release. So very powerful. And Dr. Joe Vitale has his own success story with Ho'oponopono. Once he started chanting Ho'oponopono, he featured in the Secret movie. Then he today drives a Rolls Royce. His per day charges for consultation are $10,000, $10,000 to $15,000. So that's the level that he has reached with the practice of Ho'oponopono. Infallible. This works 100%. Moving on to the next one, which is incantations. And this is a repetition of positive statements till they become a part of us. And this is very important because we have, let me just take a minute. Is that we can, yeah, you can say it in any order. So I'm moving a little fast, and then we will open it up for question and answers. So what happens is we have two parts to our brain, one conscious and one subconscious. and the subconscious is 90%, and we have about 50,000 thoughts every day, and 90% subconscious means about 45,000 thoughts we are not aware of. So our life, if we don't become aware of our thoughts and work on changing them, our life remains the same. That is why we find that the same patterns keep appearing in our life. So it is very important for us to recognize what is happening in my life, what is causing it, and then change the sentences, change the affirmations to make the positive difference in our life. And it does not matter where we are. It's not about the past, it is about being in the future, about creating a future that we want. And once again, this works very, very powerfully, and it requires repetition over a period of time, and we do it in different areas, important areas which are important for us: health, relationships, finances, career, spiritual, etc. And in the workshop, we don't only do generic statements, we also do we help you create affirmations which apply to your particular situation. So like this participant, for the last time we did this workshop was in 2022, and she had her daughter who was suddenly taken sick. So she reached out to me, and then I gave her an affirmation which helped her, her daughter recover immediately. So that is the message that she has shared. So these work, and these work for sure. And this is a sample one. You can take a screenshot of this you want, or anyway, we will be sharing the recording with you. So you can say, I am talented, I am strong, I am responsible. Whatever you want to, what you want to create or manifest in your life is what is the affirmation that you make, and you keep chanting it throughout the day. You can write it, chant it, or whatever you want to do with it. And I'm sharing with you some of my all-time favorite ones, which are amazing, amazing. I am enough. I am doing enough. I have more than enough. I have abundance of time. I am super duper happy with myself. I'm free from the memories that created fear and doubt with me. I sleep peacefully, wake up joyfully. I'm full of energy and enthusiasm. And you can make your own. And in the workshop, we will share the rules with you, which are the rules to be you followed when creating your own. And we will also support you in creating affirmations which help you in the situation that you want, you are in your life, and creating affirmations that you want. Now, coming to the champions mindset practices, there are many practices in this that I follow, but there is one which I would like to share with you, keeping in view the constraint of time that we have, which is about visualization. And there is a Mel Robbins video, Billionaire's Number One Habit on YouTube, which you can look up. I'll also share the link of that in the email that we will be sending you after this. So you can either look up the email and get the link, or you can Google on YouTube and find it. And visualization is something which all the champions do. This is the source of creative power. Michael Phelps used to do it. Novak Djokovic does it. Many people, many players practice it. Many Olympic level champions practice this. Visualizing everything, and it needs to be repeated not only once, but over a period of time. And as we keep repeating, in Hindi, they say, our Shastra say, Yatha Drishti Tata Srishti. So what we visualize is what we create. So that's the champion mindset practice that I want to talk about. And today we have discussed 5 practices with you: mindfulness, attitude of gratitude, Ho'oponopono, incantations, and champions mindset practices. Even if you pick up any one of them, you will draw the others to you. So if you have this sense of overwhelm, oh, how do I get started? Don't worry about it. Just pick up one which appeal to you. And like a net, when you pull one thing, the entire net get pulled toward you. So if you pick up either mindfulness or incantations, whatever that sounded appeal to you, and start practicing it, that's where the difference is. You will find that your life becomes a virtuous upward cycle and keeps getting better and better over a period of time. One word of caution I would like to share with you before I close the first part of the session today is that uh, sometimes people come and ask me, how many minutes I should do it. It's not so much about how many minutes or hours you do, but the consistency with which you do. Even if you do for 1 minute, but do it daily, is better than doing for 1 hour one day and not doing for 1 week. So it is daily practice which makes a difference. And like this, it has a snowballing effect. Initially, you may find that it is got very very little. The difference may not be so perceptible, but as you keep practicing, it keeps gathering momentum, and then suddenly you will find it's like gathered a lot of speed, a lot of momentum, and things are really happening the way you desire them in your life. So there was one question I got in the chat with while people were registering. How does one overcome the fear of failure when starting something new? And my response, I don't know who answered this question, if that person is still there in this session or not, or maybe if she is going to watch the recording, she will get the answer. Now, the way I look at this, we if we look at failure as final, then we have something to be afraid of. But the failure is an acronym for first attempt in learning. And if I look at what have I learned in this event, by not getting the result that I want, and then I incorporate it into my activities, then I'll never be a failure. Like Edison had more than 9,000 attempts to make the light bulb. If he would have, every time, if he would have thought that I have failed, he would have, he would have died by the time. He would not have been able to accomplish anything. But what he says is, I realized that this is one way in which we can't make the bulb. So when people asked him what motivated you to keep on going, he said that I have found 9,000 ways in which you can't make a bulb, and then he made a bulb. So don't be afraid of failure. Uh, Focus on getting the learning from that event. And once you start being grateful for what you have learned, you will find that you move from the low energy state to the high energy state. I'll pause here to see if you have any quick questions or comments, and then we will move on to the next part of the presentation, which is about the deep dive, which is more about the workshop. If there are no questions, can I have your permission to share the particulars of the workshop with you? Please type P if I have your permission to share the details of the workshop with you. Thank you, Richard. For those whom, thank you. So thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Murthy. Thank you, Simran. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, friends. So those of you who are interested in knowing about the workshop can stay on. Those of you who are not interested in the workshop, you may choose to leave the session now, because the next part of the session is about diving deep into the content of the workshop. So in case you choose to leave, thank you very much for your time, for attending the session. And I welcome those who want to dive deep to the next part of the session. And so this is one more feedback that we got from Ritu. And she says that, yes, she was a participant in the last session. And she says, I've had wonderful experience and it created wonders for me. And with my guidance, Ashish, it changed his life. It changed her life. And she's now on way to buying her new home. It really helped her. So for those of you who want better relationships, including relationship with your own self and with other people, and those who want to prosper financially or buy a new home or go on international vacations, please type me in the chat box. If you are a person, yeah, thank you, Sri. For if you are a person, Renuka, thank you. Thank you, Murthy. Who wants better relations? Thank you, Richard. More money, new house, international vacations. Please type me. Friends, the next section of the presentation is for those who want to take their life to the next level. So please keep responding actively. Okay. So moving on, friends. So this is now we are diving deep, and it's only when you dive deep you get the pearls. And here we are going to look at what's. My teacher used to say there is only one thing which holds you back from getting what you want in your life. It is knowledge of how to get where you want to go from where you are. And the bridge that will help us get to where we want from where we are is the magical success rituals, which we're going to talk about today. This is a 4-session workshop that I have put together. And in each of these sessions, we're going to talk about what the practice is about, why each practice is important, how to do it, and one thing which I often hear from the people who are in my workshops is, where do we find time? So I'll share with you hacks in which, without requiring any additional time, you can practice this. And I'll also be sharing resources with you for continued practice. So that is what we are going to do in each of the sessions. And the investment that it will require is of two things. One is of the time, and one is of the money. I know the people who are here, time is very important for them, and that is why it is my endeavor to always give the best return on the time invested. We are going to have these classes on 4 Thursdays, starting from 5th of September, 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th September. It is after your active work day at 8 p.m. And the duration of each session will be about 75 to 90 minutes. So total investment of time is 6 hours. And in these 6 hours, you will learn these magical success rituals, which will take your life to a next level. And coming to the money investment, I have kept it very reasonable. Only rupees 1,999 for a single person. And many a times people want to do it with their family members or with their friends. So in case you want to invite somebody to join along with you, then the fees is not what 4,000, which it would have been, but only 2,999. And in case you want to include a one-to-one coaching session, then you just pay 4,999. And this is awesome value, because those of you who have undergone a coaching session with me know that my charges for an hour are upwards of $100. So for less than that, you get the not only the workshop but also a single coaching session. So this is this is the fees that you can pay. The sessions will be on Zoom. And the recordings will be shared with you. So in case you miss any session because of any commitment, you don't have to worry. You can join. You can always catch up on the recording, which will be shared in the WhatsApp group that we'll create for the people who are there. And sometimes people ask me, I'm interested in your workshop, but when will be the next one? And to them, I say, I don't know when will the next one be. The last one we did was in December 2022. So the next one possibly will be after a year, not before that. And you can register by remitting the fees, depending on which option you want to go for, either by Google Pay. And once you have remitted the fees, please let us know in the chat box, and we'll be happy to welcome you to the group. And if you want to do a bank transfer, these are the details. You can take a screenshot and do the bank transfer. Or if Paytm works for you, this is the detail of the Paytm. And this is limit period offer. And for those who are action takers, I love action takers. I am one myself. There is a gift we have for those who decide to join now while we are in the session. I'll be gifting you the book, The Magic. And this is the book by Rhonda Byrne, which created a magic in my life. I have talked about it in many other sessions in the past in detail. I'll not be getting into those details there. So we will take your address and we will courier this book to you. And this will be one very important resource for you to continue your practice. Or if you already have a copy of The Magic for you with you, then I'll be happy to share my published book that I'm going to publish shortly. So either Magic or my book, you can let us know and we'll be happy to present that to you. And for those who opt for the coaching session, we are offering a very attractively made Mindful Living t-shirt. This is open only for those who sign up during the course of our session today. And this will be couriered to you. For those who are in India, we cover the shipping. But if you're outside of India, then you will need to help us with the courier charges. And in case you're not a member of Mindful Living community, we will invite you to join. And this is a very vibrant community, and there is a lot of benefit, with a lot of good sharing, a lot of good practices which are shared. The experiences are shared by the people, and that's what makes this community very, very worthwhile. Einstein said this very beautifully. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that is what happened to me. I shared about this earlier also, that whenever the results would not come in my life, I would just do more of the same thing. And but that doesn't help. What helps is realizing, what if this is not working, it's not getting me the results, what is the thing that I need to do differently. And these success rituals, investing time in these success rituals, it could be time as low as 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 1 hour. And when we make that change, our results start. And that is my journey. I have shared that with you earlier. For the benefit of those who want to have these fees figures once again, 1,999 for a single individual. And in case you want to join with a family member, it is a very reasonable 2,999. And in case you would like to have a 1:1 coaching session, it is 4,999 rupees. You can pay by Google Pay or Paytm. And once you do, please share this screenshot, and we'll be happy to welcome you to the WhatsApp group that we are forming for this workshop. And in case you would like to make a bank transfer, you can take a screenshot of this, and you can remit the fees here. We take very few participants. Last time we had 15 people in the session. This time we are going to restrict the number to a maximum of 20. So please act fast, and we'll be happy to have you join us. And these are the content of the workshop. Mindfulness, what is mindfulness? What is the contemporary scenario? More case studies like Mark Bertolini that I shared with you, why it has become so popular, how to apply the 5 components in our daily life, and what are the challenges and how mindfulness can help us deal with those challenges. Thank you, Madhu. And then in Attitude of Gratitude, we'll talk about the science of why the science, what is the science behind gratitude, how gratitude can work in handling our challenges in health, wealth, relationships, and for career, specific practices which can be done in each of these areas, how to apply Ho'oponopono. Like I mentioned, Ho'oponopono can be used for anything, whether it is your stocks to laptop to TV to anything that may be a challenge in your life. Or even if it's not a challenge, how can you take it to the next level? Incantations, how affirmations help in rewiring our operating system, which is our brain, the champions mindsets, and the most importantly, how to do this even without requiring any additional investment of time. And these are magical practices which completely take your life to a new stratosphere. Somebody requested for sharing the details, so presenting them once again. 1,999 for a single person, 2,999 for family. So it is a 1+1, you plus one more person. And with coaching, it is 4,999 rupees. You can Google Pay or Paytm, and there will be a very attractive certificate of completion when you complete the course. So you can proudly display that about these practices, and you can share them on your social media. And a special benefit for those who are wanting to act today, wanting to avail of the gift, they can reserve their seat by paying 999 rupees only. So you can pay 999 rupees and block your seat. And the balance you can pay by 3rd of September. But by doing this commitment of 999 rupees, you will be eligible for the gift, which is only open for action takers now. And sharing these details. Now we open up to question and answer. Anybody would like to ask any question? Happy to take that. Uh, We are quite in time. Happy to take any questions. You have 10 more minutes. How many sessions, Murthy? The 4 sessions, 8 p.m. On Thursdays, starting from 5th of September. So it is 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th September. Thank you. Murthy, I can't hear you. 8 p.m., 8 to 9:30 p.m. I repeat, Thursdays starting 5th of September, 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Yeah. Yeah, Madhu, that is the gratitude gap I was talking about. And, thank you, Richard. It works when we express it, and it's very heartwarming and it comes by. So the gratitude is a heart energy. And when we express gratitude, it not only works for the person to whom we are saying thank you, it also works for us. So that is why it is very important to express. Thank you. So another question we got in the while people were registering was, how does it work for relationships? And all of these practices work a lot for relationships. Let me take each one of them. So mindfulness, in mindfulness, if it is you're angry at somebody, and before you shout out, you're yell at the other person, you pause. You are mindful because you're tuned in. You become aware of your emotions. You can see the anger rising, your breath becoming short, face becoming red. So you can just, as you practice mindfulness, you can pick up these changes in your body, in your breath, and you can pause. It needs practice, but you can learn to pause before you shout. And we all have situations, where we hope that we had not said this, we had not done that, and mindfulness helps that. Other thing is gratitude. When we a lot of challenges in relationships happen when we are focused on what is not good about a person. But when we are grateful, we focus on what is good about a person. And when we do that, people can sense, that we are grateful to them, we appreciate them. And then, the outcomes are very, very different. People appreciate that and do that. Incantations also help. So you can always say that one of my favorite incantations is, I have wonderful relationships with the colleagues I work with, and they are very helpful and supportive always. So that's an incantation. So like that, there are many practices. So this was a question somebody had asked in the chat, and when they registered on relationships. So all of these practices work on relationships. Even Ho'oponopono works on relationships. So yes. So, Murthy, are you saying something? We can't hear you. Okay. Uh, so we'll wait for another minute or so before we bring the session to a close. But I'll be happy to hear from you if there is anything you would like to share as your takeaway. What's one thing you liked or learned or appreciate about the session today? That will help us. Thank you, Richard. Truly appreciate that. Thank you, Madhu. I appreciate that. Yeah, practice is the key. Thank you, Richard. So thank you, friends, for taking out time and joining the session today. Yeah, Madhu, even 2 minutes is very powerful. Listen to this video, share your takeaways in the groups that you're a part of so that it motivates more and more people to practice this and become healthier, happier, and wealthier. Have a wonderful weekend and look forward to connecting with you next week. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye, Richard.
It's not the other.